So hi, I'm Sean Sullivan, Security Advisor at F-Secure, and I'm here today to talk about what everybody's talking about for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, Cambridge Analytica, Facebook data, and what you can do to limit your exposure to undue targeted advertising or manipulation by platforms that have a lot of data about you. Why this is in the news today is because it involves Cambridge Analytica, which is about politics, which is about an investigation in the Trump campaign in the United States, and so it's everywhere, which then pulls in Facebook, and how is Facebook's data used by Cambridge Analytica. Psychographics is what Cambridge Analytica promised to be able to use in order to find people of a certain emotional type and target them with ads that play to those particular emotions, whether they're neurotic or competitive or stable and calm, social and outgoing, or introverted. From everything I've seen when I've studied psychographics, it's mumbo jumbo. It's marketing consultants trying to sell their services to people that need to market. Reportedly, Cambridge Analytica really ran a rather vanilla social media campaign for the Trump organization, which had zero social media organization before they got into the presidential election. So Cambridge Analytica did a basic Facebook marketing campaign, except that it might have been like negative ads as opposed to positive ads building up. That's a question that has to be answered. So I think that's another reason why it's in the news and it's attracting so much attention. Because in 2012, you had a campaign using big data, social media, web to build a coalition, and the perception is in 2016, those same tools were used to fracture a coalition and perhaps suppress the vote. And that is a great concern to many people around the world, population as well as politicians and governments and so on. So it's big, big news. Now, what can you do to avoid being pulled into all that and your data being used against you? A couple of simple things that should be kept in mind is that this is going to happen if you don't prevent tracking one way or the other. So there are third-party trackers out there building user profiles that are semi-anonymous, but so they're fuzzy. They get sharper and sharper over time. So when I begin my working day, it's usually with a browser that has had all the cookies purged. And if I visit 3 websites about tech and security, the 4th website by that point has an idea that this individual, whoever he is interested in tech and security. I empty out my cookies at the end of the day and start fresh the next day. That's a fuzzy profile that gets a bit sharper during the day. On those same websites are Google Analytics, which I have a plugin to opt out of. You can find that from Google if you look. I have to look a bit hard because Google doesn't necessarily want you to find that. Or Facebook Pixel or Facebook Like buttons. If you log into Google Gmail, or if you log into Facebook at that point, that fuzzy profile that's getting sharper becomes very sharp for those 2 platforms. And that's one of the bits of magic about Facebook, about Google. So one of the things I typically do is when I log into Google, I do it in Chrome, as opposed to my primary browser, where I do a lot of my browsing, where those cookies are accumulating during the day. I log into Google on Chrome because it's Google Chrome, and that's kind of where I keep it. And the same with Facebook. I will pick up my iPad and I'll log into Facebook and do something, as opposed to the desktop where I'm doing my day-to-day work browsing, because I don't want to connect my work research with my personal Facebook profile that I actually don't use all that often. If I need to contact a family member, I'll pick up the iPad. So it's a different device even than the PC. This keeps these sort of fuzzy profiles, these user profiles that are being built up through Facebook pixels or like buttons or Google Analytics or cookies, from being attached to my accounts. Now the other thing that you can do is companies want to find you, and they can use tools like Facebook custom audiences. And the way that they do that is they have a list of 1,000, 10,000 customers, and they have their email addresses. So if you, when doing business with companies online, use a different email address than you use for your primary Google account or your primary Facebook account, you can create a separation between you and companies that would maybe want to use those platforms to target you. Then there's mobile versus desktop. I haven't used mobile Facebook in years. I do it all on a desktop, or as I said, an iPad sometimes. And that's a way that you can segment and separate yourself so that you can stay in touch with friends and family, and yet not have advertisers unduly connecting the dots and making a profile that's sharp and refined in order to target you with information.
Thank you for watching, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you don't feel like liking, sharing, and subscribing, remember, you can also hack us. We have a bug bounty, and if you are able to break into our services, we will pay you money. Good luck, and I'll see you online.